Well, Paul believed that God so loved the world. And not only that, he wrote in Ephesians that Christ loved the church, but he says he did something infinitely more than love the world. And he did something infinitely more than love the church. He loved me and gave himself for me. And I love that phrase of the Apostle Paul where he says, having nothing and yet possessing all things. My God, now we possess everything and do nothing. The disciples were assembled for fear of the Jews. And the implication is that all the disciples were there except two. One was Thomas, who was away doing something, and the other was Judas, who of course had sold out to Jesus. They were assembled for fear of the Jews. Then came Jesus and stood in the midst and said, what do you think he should have said? Don't you think he should have come and stood and put his hands up and said, shame on the whole lot of you, you traitors, you cowards. Shame on you. But he doesn't come to condemn. Jesus stood in the midst. He's King of Kings, he's Lord of Lords, and he stands there in the midst of a bunch of frightened, terrified men who'd gone through some traumatic experiences, and they didn't know where their world was. And all I could do was stand back as I read that text over and over, and I've said it I'm nearly every hour of the night during the past week, and I said to myself, there he is, meek in all his majesty. The first thing he said was, I am meek and lowly of heart. And here he is, not with a halo around his head, not with angels singing. He stands in the midst of those disciples. He stood in their midst. He had been through something that it had no precedent. It was unprecedented, and it will be unrepeated to the end of the ages. He alone did it. He got Jesus in the tomb. They put the stone over the tomb. They put wax over the stone. They put soldiers over the wax and over the seals and over the stone. And there he was, a prisoner. Do you realize that at this moment when Jesus is there in the tomb, every demon in hell is looking on that tomb, every angel in heaven is looking on it, the disciples are all bewildered and confused, and nobody knows what's happened, and even the high priests are terrified. This is an awesome thing. It would have been better if they had an earthquake that split the earth in two. But I see more than the stone and the wax and the seal and the soldiers. I see Satan saying on that resurrection morning, just a few more minutes. And if we can trap this man, he is the Son of God. I know that. I witnessed his incarnation. And God knows I've wondered many times how these disciples, how did they lose contact with Jesus? 3 of them at least had seen his miraculous transfiguration. How could you see the glory of eternity on him? Because the light wasn't shining on him like a spotlight. The light was on the inside. He's the light of the world. It was shining out. And there's a testimony from heaven. This is my beloved Son. And he was transfigured before them. And yet a vision like that got blurred. And even those men who had such visions betrayed him. Now every demon in hell is looking. Satan says if we can keep him there, we've trapped the whole human race. We can damn it forever and ever. Again, we're not saved by his death, we're saved by his resurrection. He's got to pull the pillars of the world down, as it were. He's got to do as Ephesians 2 says, lead captivity captive and give gifts unto men.